just looked at her and I said, oh, Grandma, that's how you died.
Oh my God.
Okay, welcome to the Chicken Coop Podcast, episode something. Today we are joined with... This is the part where you say your name and introduce yourself.
Oh, I have to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian. His name is Brian.
This?
His name is Brian, and he didn't know we did a podcast till about 20 minutes ago. Now he's on. So,
Yeah.
See how fast that works? We're making celebrities.
Thank you to all these listeners out there
Mystery listeners
for some reason.
that haven't joined our Discord and haven't told us how.
And refuse to DM me on Twitter or Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't DM him.
Don't. You know, maybe that'll work. Reverse psychology, right?
As usual, Adrian and myself are here. Adrian
Hello.
and Alex. Hello.
It is me.
And Brian has made us some lovely cocktails. Would you like to explain
Some
what we're drinking right
aperitifs.
now?
This is just the starter. Some elderflower liqueur, champagne, and club soda.
And it's really good. It's actually delicious.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Elderflower, I feel like you can mix elderflower with any sort of light tasting thing.
Anything that lets floral notes come out.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Brian has a history in the bootleg alcohol industry.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, he's actually from the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like? I think you should explain first some of your greatest beer hits.
So yeah, just to clue everyone in onto what Adrian's talking about, I have a little home brewery in my parents' garage, where everyone makes their bootleg beer.
I think there's still some in that fridge, by the way.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And been brewing beer for about 6 years now, probably over 25 different styles.
some really good ones.
Some good ones, some purposely bad ones.
Yeah.
The ones that I know of that stick out in my mind is the durian one.
That's one of the purposely bad ones.
It was actually not
pretty good.
bad. Like
I tasted that. That was actually pretty good.
it's one of
But,
the.
durian is,
It gets that beer got so much worse the warmer it got. If it was just out of the fridge, it was delicious. If it was 10 minutes out, it would stink up the whole house.
it just mimics the durian.
Yeah, the good stuff.
And the other one that I'm reminded of is, I don't know whether you made this one. I think you did. It was the dog yeast corn chip. What
he
was that
just
one?
talked about it for ages.
Oh, okay.
No, I never made that.
You should have made it.
Explain what that is.
Yeah.
So you take a little bit of yeast from the toes between your dog
Go on.
and you use that to ferment the beer.
And would that give it-
Why is that special? What would that do to the beer?
Give it a nice popcorn buttery taste, which is what you're really looking for in
Yeah.
beer.
I'd drink it.
I'd try some.
Yeah. Yeast is yeast as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I'd try some Kirby Cola. I think it would be pretty good.
Kirby Cola TM.
You could have a whole line
Patent pending.
of different types of beer made from different dog's paws.
Mm. You could have. I mean, even like.
You could have the Taka Sour.
I wouldn't even go so far as different dog's paws. I think that's too granular. But you could go with different boutique yeasts. So you can have
Human,
dog paw,
cat, gator.
human papillomavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hospital
yeah.
floor.
Here's Pap smears. Get you Pap smears. Pabst beers.
Oh, speaking of hospitals, congratulations.
Get a little MRSA in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I think my favorite beer that you made was the Life on Mars, right? That was the red ale that you guys made.
Yeah, it was a red ale with rye.
That was
I believe.
that was fantastic.
Do you have
I
anything
really loved
on
it.
the horizon?
Nothing on the horizon right now.
You not been thinking about anything you want to make in the future? Is there anything that really sticks out that you want to try and make?
That I want to try to make? Nothing in my mind, no. I'd love to redo one of my favorites, which is a Yam Bam Thank You Ma'am. It's a pumpkin beer for the season.
Ooh.
That was really good too.
Do you remember
It
last
tastes
year?
like an oatmeal raisin cookie, honestly.
Yeah,
Ooh, it sounds really good.
that was a great beer. Didn't you make a mead a couple of years ago too? That was really
I made
nice
a
too.
sizer.
That was
so it's
nice.
like a mead uses water as a base, so we used apple juice as a base instead.
Sounds really interesting.
Dude, seriously, this drink is amazing.
Yeah.
Like
Try not to drink it as fast as you do.
this is like
You need room for seconds.
this is like a
That's
soda.
true.
This is a low sugar soda, with just so much alcohol in it.
So Brian, you are our resident, how should I phrase
Nurse.
this? God-awful movie expert, I would say.
That I am, yes.
Yeah, you have you and I think your brother, right? You both collect basically the worst horror movies you can find and
Shout out Vinegar Syndrome.
collect them, watch them, and God, what was that
Sponsor
awful
us,
fucking
Vinegar
movie?
Syndrome.
What was that awful movie you made me watch last time you were here in town?
Awful movie. I've
Yeah.
never made you watch an awful movie.
It was bad.
No, I think that was my movie.
was that your suggestion?
That was what's it called? Psycho Gorman.
That's the
that
one.
was my
I
suggestion.
didn't enjoy that.
I selected it because I thought Brian might enjoy it.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy it.
Such a
Oh, you
good
did?
movie.
Okay, was you? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and so later, after we finish this podcast, we're going to watch another movie called The Gate from, I think, 1987. I found it earlier today. I don't really know much about it other than it's got some interesting VFX in it. And it's supposed to be good, so we'll see.
I've only made Adrian watch purely good movies.
Yeah, like Sleepaway Camp.
Well, I think
Eat shouldn't live, Bill.
last time you here, didn't we watch? I made you watch a movie that you didn't like, right? I made you watch
Bad Taste.
Bad Taste.
That was honest.
Horrible.
I
Yeah,
loved it.
it's
watch it again later.
It is
Ferocious movie.
hardly even a movie. There may be a story in there, but it wasn't
The fact
anything
that
that they
Peter
filmed.
Jackson went from making that
To Lord of the
to
Rings.
making Lord of the Rings.
So,
What happened?
So for listeners
Did
that
he
don't
go
know,
to
Bad Taste is Peter Jackson's first feature film.
It should not have been a feature film.
I believe it was. I think it was started off as a short, and then
He just kept making it, and
pretty much, I think, like it started off as a short. He took it to film festivals, I think, and then the New Zealand Film Commission, which was basically a new thing at the time. I don't think there was a lot of movies coming out of New Zealand. Gave him enough money to finish it and blow up the house at the end. But like, apparently, all of the like the Uzis and the guns that are all functioning in the movie, all of them are made. Peter Jackson made them out of cardboard and like duct tape and paper mache. All of the prosthetics were baked in his mum's oven. So,
but that was the start of Weta Workshop.
I don't think that was the start of Where to Work. I mean,
Everybody who worked on that movie made Weta. Like
I think
that's how that's what ended up happening.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought it was the next one, the other one I made you guys watch. The one where the God, what was that? Rat monkey thing called? That's
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. Yeah,
That one's good.
with the
I enjoyed
Sumatran
that.
rat monkey. Yeah,
I've not seen that one yet.
I thought we watched it together.
That was the one with the zombies where his mom turns into a zombie and he tries to keep it alive for a long time.
His mum's ear falls off into the soup.
And then somebody else eats it and turns into a zombie. That one was fun.
Were you not there when we watched that? You love that movie. You love that movie.
I mean, anything's better than Bad Taste. Right?
Okay, no, this one's a stellar movie.
What's crazy about Bad Taste is you can actually see some of like the camera techniques that Peter Jackson goes on to use in like the
tights.
Frighteners and Lord of the Rings and King Kongs. Like there's some very, very stylistic indicators of who he's going to become as a filmmaker.
You can especially like. I remember I was surprised when I went back to watch Lord of the Rings when I had gotten used to analyzing movies. Quite how many tights there are.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just jumping between like tights on faces.
Yeah, because
Your brain just builds the world around that.
Yeah, because the wide shots are all very difficult to accomplish with the act. Gimli is Jonathan Rhys-Davies is like 6'4" in real life. Like he's a big guy.
Is he still alive? Did he pass away?
Yeah, he's in the new indie.
And my axe.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. And my axe.
Apparently, I'm sure you both watched all the behind the scenes, but apparently he just used to hit stuntmen. Which for most people is not okay. But
I don't know if it was an Easter egg or what, but it was with Jack Black, where he's in the, when they're at the end of Fellowship, I think, when they're all in a circle and they're trying to figure out what the hell do we do with this ring. And there's an Easter egg or like a spoof that was made back in the day with Jack Black in it. And they're trying to talk about what do we do with the ring, and nobody can find the ring all of a sudden. Turns out Jack Black turned it into a cock ring.
that was the
that feels like an MTV Movie Awards kind of thing.
It might have been.
Yeah.
that went directly onto. That's how he was all doing all those cock push-ups in Tenacious D, I think.
Yeah. No, I think if you're going to do like a Peter Jackson marathon to try and understand who he is as a filmmaker, you could start with Bad Taste and then go to Brain Dead. And then after Brain Dead, do like The Frighteners. Do the Frighteners and then do Lord of the Rings,
Nope.
any of them.
I'd say-
And then at the end of it, just like cap it off with a nice calm musical with Meet the Feebles.
No, I think you have to watch them. Do you have to watch them in order? You've seen Meet the Feebles, right?
No.
Okay.
Do you like the Muppet movie?
We could actually watch Meet the Feebles tonight.
Which Muppet movie?
The original Muppet movie. Or any of them.
We could do a double feature. We could watch Meet the Feebles tonight.
Okay, Meet the Feebles is basically if the Muppet movie and Happy Tree Friends had a baby.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's a...
But way worse.
He did, I believe he did Bad Taste. What was the other one?
Brain Dead.
Sorry, Brain Dead, Bad Taste. No, Bad Taste, Brain Dead. Then he did Meet the Feebles. So he went on from doing 2 horror movies to doing all puppets.
An all puppet
Incredibly
musical.
violent, sexual musical number that I don't think it did that well when it came out.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah. It's amazing. And then he went on to do, I think that after that was it the Lovely Bones? Was it the Frighteners?
No, Frighteners was before Lovely Bones. Lovely Bones was after Lord of the Rings, wasn't it?
His first few movies were like this,
Yeah.
and then he
evened out.
got like the acumen of being out. He got known for being fantastic with practical effects, and then Lord of the Rings.
somehow
King
Love-
Kong was before
Oh yeah,
Lord of the Rings, right?
no, King Kong was after.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
King Kong was like
2005.
Yeah, 05.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also with Jack Black.
That's a good movie.
Also, Jack Black was excellent in that movie, and he gets the last line: "'Twas beauty killed the beast." Also, one of the endings that, like, from my childhood sticks out in my mind. It's that and Harry Potter 3.
So yeah, start with bad taste, get the bad taste in your mouth, and work your way up.
You go from there.
Now, does every Peter Jackson movie have an extended cut?
I think Bad Taste is its own extended cut.
Yeah, it's being extended by an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But apart from that, what other... If you're going to go through your collection of awful movies, awful is a subjective...
Work up from least awful to most awful, top 5.
Beautiful gem that I own is
Time in the Rough.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Ooh.
I don't think... you guys have told me about this. I've never seen it.
Paul Walker and Denise
Rest in peace.
Richards.
Okay.
Basically, Paul Walker is a high school student dating Denise Richards.
All right.
Gets...
As one
I
does.
believe mauled by a lion in the middle of a park in Los Angeles, as
It's
one
like in
does.
Ventura.
And some mad scientist takes his brain, puts it into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he then falls back in love with his girlfriend as a T-Rex.
Wow.
One of the great things about that movie, I'm pretty sure the movie was basically created because some guys were walking through a studio one day and found one of the animatronics left over from Jurassic Park and were like, hey, can we have this? We want to make a movie.
Really? That's fantastic.
I just had a brain blast idea.
Right.
So obviously Paul Walker's not around, rest in peace, but he did play T-Rex, so like how much of that is him? Denise Richards is still around. Brendan Fraser is still around.
All right.
Not a sequel, crossover. Tammy and the T-Rex meets Encino Man. Pauly Shore, Denise Richards, Brendan Fraser, Ke-Huy Quan. We got it. That is an instant seller. Tammy and the T-Rex versus the Encino Man.
T-Rex has to be played by Vin Diesel, though.
And there's no script, by the way. You show up day one of shooting, and the entire thing is improv led.
It's the writer strike. That's what we're doing for the next 2 years, bro.
Yeah.
Keep the T-Rex in the family.
You got to keep the T-Rex in the family. Yeah.
Speaking of the writer strike, I'll drop this little nugget of information since the last episode that we haven't released yet, but we recorded a couple of weeks ago. The writer strike is still going, and it looks like SAG, the Actors Guild, and DGA, the Directors Guild, might also strike. And if DGA strikes, from my understanding, that means that not only can you really shoot anything that's scripted, you can't release anything because you can't finish post-production
Without a director, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of the problem there is already most of the high-profile directors are also co-writers or writers on their own product.
Mm-hmm.
So most directors right now, they're going to have, if they want to shoot, they're going to have to shoot without a script that they wrote. So they're going to cobble it together from some unused draft or something.
Yeah.
And it's likely that they just strike out of necessity because it's absurd to have your people work on things that are going to turn out bad.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should just throw out a few movie pitches to Netflix.
Let's scab. You know what? You want to make this the movie pitch podcast? I have a couple.
Brief break. Brian's made another Well, it looks like some kind of vampire syrup.
It's supposed to be a gold rush, which
That's what it's called?
with this nice red hue.
Red rush.
Oh, that's actually quite good. It's very zesty.
I do not like that.
Speaking of vampires, Brian actually helped us on a short we did a couple of years ago called Garlic Dead.
Garlic Dead.
Wherein Alex and I played a couple of vampires. He's actually, if he's ever in need of employment, I would say he should go into costume and set design.
This October, we should cut that
We
down
should we should do a couple more.
I really want to do the bear one, the smile one.
Yeah, the smile one's
That
pretty
script
fun.
I found.
We just need to figure out how to do the practical
I want
effects.
to do that one, and I want to do
The don't move.
Don't Move.
Yeah.
both of
Honestly,
those.
if someone out there wants to hire me for costume and set design, I might quit my job.
Nick asked me a question when I was driving over here on the phone, and before I forget, I want to ask you the same question. You have one movie that you're allowed to forget, so you can rewatch it again. What is it?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind, just because it would be pretty funny.
If the movie has sequels, do I still remember those
I'll give you the
sequels?
franchise. So yeah, so if you want to pick Star Wars, you can pick Star Wars. The whole thing.
Honestly, possibly Scream. Not because
Ooh,
they're
yeah.
particularly the greatest movies of all
They
time.
keep you
but
guessing, though.
The idea of not remembering the final killer is
Let me have another sip of this.
Well,
intriguing.
on top of that, I think that Scream also was
Not a
it was
fan of that.
really popular when it came out, like insanely popular,
Mhm.
and it's only become more relevant. Like the first movie, all of the meta stuff is, I mean, in the 90s, ahead of its time. Now
You'd really
it's
choose
kind
that.
of trite.
You choose that over anything else. You can forget a movie and
I'm
re-experience
trying to
it.
think of like what movies would it make a huge difference if I had never seen it again.
Yeah.
Like some of the movies, I'm a horror guy, all right?
Yeah,
So that's like where my mind goes first. Some of the movies that I made me fall in love with the genre, I think have such an impact because I watched them as a kid. And so
Yeah.
if I were to forget those movies, I don't think they would have the same impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Nightmare on Elm Street, I watched when I was 11 years old. That movie scared the shit out of me. I walked around my neighborhood with a hockey stick for 3 months, waiting to beat the shit out of anyone who jumped out at me. That would go away if I forgot that and then watched it
All
as
right,
a
Liam Neeson.
29-year-old.
Or you just have some really weird decontextualized memories of walking around with a hockey
Well,
stick.
how about we do this? It's a two-part question.
Yeah.
So first one is the movie that you'd re-experience the same experience you had the first time you watched it.
Yeah, that's not really a question, though.
Yeah, then never mind.
Yeah.
And we'll do
What
it. We'll keep
about a
it.
movie I could forget that I watched and never watch it again?
What would that be?
Ebola syndrome.
What is that?
Oh my
It's a
god.
Category 3 Chinese film.
Oh,
that
this
my brother
we're
blind
allowed to
bought.
talk about, huh?
What's a category 3 film?
I honestly don't know the definition of it, but I believe they are just films from China that were banned for their disgusting and disturbing content.
Oh, all right. So like China's
Go ahead.
version of what's that awful?
NC-17,
Yeah.
X.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah. I couldn't figure this out because in the car I was wondering maybe would it be like Indiana Jones, but no, because I think so much has come after Indiana Jones now that
It's
would
the
have-
Seinfeld isn't good paradox.
yeah. But whereas,
You shut your mouth.
but then
No, it's a term. Seinfeld isn't good means that young people watch Seinfeld for the first time, and Seinfeld being a trailblazing sitcom
so much has been based on it since then.
invented so much in the zeitgeist that everybody else copied and improved on, that if you go into it blind and don't know that it's like, oh, they're just doing everything that I've already seen, but more primitively.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing where Indiana Jones has had so much of an impact. Same thing with Star Wars on pop culture, that if you went back and watched it without an appreciation for it being the first of its kind, it may not have the same hold on you.
I just think that as good as some movies are, there are genres which are kind of I would want to see for the first time but never again.
Yeah.
Where like you rewatch the movie and it doesn't hold the same effect because you're not guessing.
Yeah.
What about you? Yeah. If you could
I'm trying to think.
Top of my head. Top of your head, excuse me.
Top of my head, honestly, The Dark Knight. Just because every time I've rewatched it...
I thought you hated
That's the problem. I loved it the first time I saw it in theaters. And then every time I've rewatched it, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And now it's like just completely banal to me.
So I was thinking either Blade Runner: The Final Cut or Lawrence of Arabia.
Lawrence of Arabia is... I mean, but...
Both of those are, to me, I think both of those are timeless in terms of like... what you could show someone now, Blade Runner: The Final Cut, and so long as they like that type of movie, that movie would blow them away. Same with Lawrence of Arabia, I think.
But does the rewatch not do anything for you with like Lawrence of Arabia?
I get if Lawrence of Arabia is on TV, doesn't matter how far it's through. I'm just stuck watching it.
But forgetting.
You're not really gaining anything from it.
It blew me away watching it.
But it still blows you away on a rewatch.
Yeah, but that first experience is still...
I got one. I actually got one. Can I choose to specifically forget the sequel trilogy and only watch episode 7? Because I remember watching that in theaters. I was like, fuck yeah. I'm all in.
But you can't
I'm all in on this.
I hated episode 7 when I first saw it.
I still hate it.
There are parts of it that now I'm like, okay, this is at least fun. But that movie is just episode 4 redone.
Yep. We had a 3-hour podcast on this with Bernard.
Now, you want to talk about a good one, it's episode 9.
Get the fuck out of here.
That is if you took the Fast and Furious franchise and threw Star Wars.
I want to change my answer. I want to forget this conversation.
Yeah. You know the last one's coming out, right?
Not the last one. The first part of the last one, which is going to be 3 parts.
I thought that Vin Diesel said that he would keep making the movies so long as people wanted to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to happen. I heard that Jason Momoa does his best Joker impression in this and tries to blow up the Vatican, so I'm kind of here for it.
All right. I mean, everyone, they're like, the last one, they went
to space. Yeah,
they went to space.
Luda went to space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a
Pontiac.
a DeLorean or something.
Yeah, it was not a good car. They strapped it to the back of a rocket.
Yeah,
I love the Fast and Furious movies. I could watch those all day.
I am not a huge fan of them, I must say. Anyway, let's get back to this was a segue.
Do you not care about family?
I hate family, dude. Mohana means family. And,
Hana.
And I'm not here for it.
Jesus. Oh, Lilo and Stitch I think would be a good one. That one's lasted. That's a great movie. That is fantastic. That is earnest.
That's your pick. Of all the movies you could pick, you'd forget Lilo and Stitch when you watch it.
What about a movie that you could forget
a bad choice.
every single time you watched it?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
For an hour and then forget.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
But it would never have long-lasting impact.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
For me, it would have to be something like psychologically disturbing, I guess.
Oh, you know what? 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, you know,
because the first time you watch that, it's such a gut punch, and every subsequent one you're like looking at and like anticipating and getting ready for it. I think being surprised by that movie consistently would be awesome.
Maybe I'm thinking something like Synecdoche, New York, or
Sounded kind of Dodajody.
Yeah, that's the one. Or something that like really has like an impact on you when you watch it for the first time. And sometimes it would be it'd be nice to have that impact again.
It would be nice to see Schindler's List for the first time again. So, first off, a Category 3 film is just rated R in Hong Kong.
All right.
Yeah, but like their rated R is like...
Yeah, their rated R is pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
For instance, one movie that was Category 3 was Ebola Syndrome.
I tell you what was a good movie that no one saw. Well, at least no one I know saw it. Wandering Earth.
Never heard of it.
Came out on Netflix. It was something like the sun dies and they have to, instead of making spaceships, they turn the entire of the globe into a spaceship and fly it through the universe. Something like that. It's good. It's a good movie.
Huh. All right. Might watch it. Sounds interesting. Anyway, what do you think about AI?
So like I said earlier, I've seen Terminator 2. I don't know what people are doing. I'm actually happy. James Cameron came out recently and said, like, have you seen my fucking movie before? Because seriously, I mean, what's the end goal here?
Well, first of all,
we're all gonna die.
Cat's out of the bag. So we can't... What's being talked about right now, which is really stupid.
We can stop it right now. All it can do is make shitty cocktail recipes and write some essays.
You can't stop it. It's out now. There's nothing you can do now to put it back.
We can make it dumb.
Nope, you can't.
We could make it dumb.
Nope, because
other countries will use it against us.
we're
not the only people.
There's open source AI models now that are performing better than these massive models like OpenAI's model and Bard. But like people around the world are publishing much smaller, but much better performing AI models, large language models that are trained on open source data.
You know that Futurama episode where Bender like degrades himself and goes to the island, turns himself into a wood robot?
Dude. Yeah.
That's what we need to do now.
Speaking of Futurama, new season coming out in July.
Let me tell you about a little book called The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect.
Cut.
I've been thinking about that a lot recently, thinking about trying to write it into a script again and trying to maybe get the option for it. It's I think it's even more relevant now. It's a really good book written by a programmer in the 80s, I think, that kind of covers the end game of AI. It's very good.
It's honestly, it's just Rollerball, but not as cool.
No, that's not true.
I would love to see they already tried a remake of Rollerball that was really bad. I would love to see like an actual philosophical remake of Rollerball. Have you seen Rollerball? Mm-mm. You should watch Rollerball. You'd like it.
You have to explain it. And you also have to explain that it was made in the
1970s, 73.
Yeah. It was. Oh yeah, I was going to say 80s, but definitely 70s.
Yeah. So in the future, it's dystopian. The world kind of sucks. There's a sport called rollerball that everybody loves, and it's a death match. And basically, it's rollerblading or roller skating. It's not even blading, but with knives. And there's two teams and a ball, and it's basically a circular court. And you have to grab a ball and kind of get it to the middle of the court and score a goal. It's like if rollerblading and bowling had a baby, and that baby was hyper lethal.
It's
and also
roller derby,
one,
right?
Yeah, it's like roller derby, and one of the members of the team drives an ATV. It's kind of cracked out.
You really enjoy this movie, actually.
But the idea is that like one rollerball star accidentally gets too big. And the government starts getting afraid that he's going to like sap power from them and start a revolution. And it's him trying to avoid that entirely, but kind of getting pushed into it. Really good movie. Really interesting film.
James Caan.
Yeah. James Caan is the main character. Yeah. John something or other. That's his name.
When did they remake this?
They remade it in like 2006, I want to say. It was awful. I watched both of them in school.
There's a second one.
No, there's a remake.
No, there's a second one. There's a Rollerball 2. I swear there's a Rollerball 2.
I feel like you can't really make a sequel to it.
I'm sure there was a
sequel of anything.
Yeah, well, they made fucking 18 Star Wars. Yeah, 2002 was Rollerball.
3% on Rotten Tomatoes in 2002.
Starring, you go from James Caan as the main character to Chris Klein.
LL Cool J.
I did not even know who that was until I saw his picture. I was like, that's Oz from American Pie.
Exactly.
Jean Reno's in it, though.
Yeah, Jean Reno doesn't really pick good projects half the time.
I mean, maybe not for the past however many years.
Yeah.
Jean Reno, for anyone that's listening and likes movies, played Leon the Professional.
Yeah. You know what I learned about that movie recently?
Leon the Professional?
Yeah. What's his name? Who's the director of that? The French guy. Valerian, made Fifth Element.
Luc Besson.
Yeah. He was dating a 15-year-old when he made that movie.
That guy's got a pretty strange past.
Yeah. That 15-year-old that he was dating when he made that movie, he divorced for Mila Kunis, who was like 17 when he made The Fifth Element.
Yeah. He's
kind of a bad person.
Yeah.
Little Roman Polanski type.
Great movies, but
yeah, maybe a little bit.
Woody Allen.
I wouldn't go as far as Woody Allen. I think Woody Allen is a much weirder and more complex case that none of us are kind of able to comment on. I think that the qualification for that is like insane, just because the hearsay between all like 18 of his and Mia Farrow's kids it's all over the place. All of them disagree with everybody.
18 kids?
I don't know, 18.
I've
they have like 8 to 9.
Professional, but every time I see the cover for it, I just think of that horrible movie you just pitched to me.
Well, we're not talking about that one, are we? So, anyway, AI, good or bad?
Bad.
Bad. Fun, but bad.
Yeah. Well, so AI is gonna. I think over the next 2 years is going to shake a lot of stuff up. I've been following it pretty
Kill us all.
closely. I don't think it's going to kill us. The thing is, whenever people talk about AI, artificial general, first of all, we're really far away from artificial general intelligence. And
but we're close enough to enough machine learning that can get people to believe it's actually God.
So at what point when it takes all of our jobs do we adopt like a socialist perspective?
I mean, we need, honestly,
at
we
the
need
point
to.
when people learn to stop killing each other over
There's
resources.
lots of things going on in the world right now, which and this is like massively accelerated. A lot of that. I don't know whether you heard Wendy's just announced that they're going to get rid of like 150,000 employees. Because,
so that's what I'm saying. When none of us have jobs anymore, when every career is obsolete, and we live in a society where it's just get yours. How does that?
I mean, be living in a society.
We're going to have UBI. I mean, there's no way of getting around that kind of thing.
Eventually, we will have to. Dog here. It is what it is.
If you've ever read any sci-fi
I think I'm actually pretty optimistic that AI will falter and will not be a long-standing thing. Mostly because I know for a fact.
I don't think so.
Three years ago.
What's up, buddy? Hi.
Okay, not 3, but about 5 years ago, quantum computing was the biggest thing on the market for VCs. If you had quantum computing in your your profile, everybody would invest. And they forgot about quantum computing the second that cryptocurrency came around. What's it called?
It's very different.
Blockchain came around, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, if you can do."
Chair? We got another mic. Nice.
Thanks, Mick.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is great radio.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
it's a good thing it's an audio medium.
Yeah. So, and you're not even on the video either. So after the fucking blockchain comes around, everybody forgets about it. Blockchain was the most important thing ever. Everybody was pouring money into it. AI comes around, knocks that out. Some other stupid buzzword will come around, and all VCs will pull funding from AI companies and move to that.
No, this is a totally different thing. This is totally different than the prior two. The prior two were hype with no use cases. You see so many. Hi Nara, what's up? You see so many use cases already cropping up with specifically large language model AIs.
What I want to know is our AI at least going to be Austrian?
I want your clothes, your keys.
Give me your clothes.
Hi Nara, who's a good girl.
Get in the chopper.
Like, can our AI at least be like a cute, spunky girl who lives in my helmet and tells me that she likes the way that I can stick it?
Lucy Lubot?
Lucy Lubot. Okay, I need either Cortana or Lucy Liu. There, I will accept no other.
Well, one was a human at one point, currently, and the other was never a human.
Yeah, so. that's totally fine as long as it's a nice voice and makes me feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that what we call it?
Comfortable, yeah. It's soothing.
Comfort.
I don't think that if I asked Arnold Schwarzenegger a question and he gave me an answer, that may be a cool novelty, but I don't think I could do it 24/7 for every question I ever had. I think that would become very, very like kind of disparaging over a long period of time. Even a short period of time.
Watch for the first time Kindergarten Cop. Great
movie. Great. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
It's not a
it's
tumor.
Not. I have a headache.
Which is
maybe it's a tumor. It's not a tumor. It's not.
Have you seen Twins?
Twins is great.
I have seen Twins.
Good.
I heard Twins 2 actually just fell through.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Schwarzenegger wanted to make it. DeVito wanted to make it, and
what
the
happened?
studio just didn't want it.
No writers.
Yeah. Well.
I'll write Twins too.
Yeah, I'll scab for Twins too.
Yeah.
You know what I noticed is that they say 90% of writing is actually just experiencing.
Yeah.
And living life, which means that all of the writers picketing right now are actually scabs.
Why is that?
Because they're having life experiences. They're doing the 90% right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
But how does that make them scabs?
Because they're writing.
Oh, so you're saying that they really shouldn't be picketing?
They should be writing
Because
right now
because picketing means that they're actually sort of
they're
technically
doing
writing.
most of it.
Did you see that?
If they were actually sitting down and writing,
Then
they'd be
they-
doing less writing than they are right now.
That's
Did you
true.
see Weezer did an impromptu concert
Get
for all
fucked.
the
As if they're not
picketers?
suffering enough.
Weezer?
Oh yeah, I'm picketing
You don't
because
like
I'm
Weezer?
I'm picketing because I'm gonna get my job invalidated and they're already not paying me enough. Here's Rivers Cuomo to talk about not getting laid for the last 20 years.
Can you
Actually,
imagine
he
trying
just played
to...
Beverly Hills over and
Oh my
over
God.
again.
Imagine trying to explain...
That's even worse. Rivers Cuomo is like a shittier, more annoying version of the kid from Rushmore, but as an adult, so it's even worse.
Can you imagine...
Got him on a good rant. Hey, can we also bring up Star Wars Episode 8 while we're
We
at
already
it?
did that one. It was 3 and it was actually a 4-hour-long podcast before I cut it down.
We've beat
Bless
the
any
Star
of
Wars
you
dead
people who
horse
listen
so
to
hard that
We-
it came back alive, I think.
We have so many listeners
yeah.
on that episode. By
Do
the
we
way,
really?
yeah, we have quite a bit. Yeah, no, Rivers Cuomo can suck a dick. His best album was his second album, which was also the first one that he wrote about, like, oh, I'm rich and I can't get laid because I'm still a loser.
Is this the Weezer guy?
Lead singer of Weezer.
Can you imagine trying to explain Weezer to Gen Z?
A guy, the Incel Anthem. The Incel Anthem for fucking 6 albums.
Do they have any idea of
They
like,
have like 20 albums and 2 of them are good. That's a fucking terrible hit rate.
There's like 3 good albums.
They made their fucking Teal album, which was all covers. They didn't even try to like cover the songs interestingly. They literally did fucking Weezer karaoke.
It seems
It's
like
Rivers Cuomo singing karaoke for 2
so
hours.
it's interesting. His writing process is actually just, from what I've read, that he scribbles down lines that he thinks would be good in a song and then later just mix and matches them.
I believe that.
Which makes a lot of sense.
is that really what it is?
The
That's
Red
hilarious.
album is about half good. Pinkerton is a good album.
It's blue, Pinkerton, and white to me.
The White album was kind
I
of
like
shit.
the White
It's kind of
Album.
shitty.
Did
The Red album at least has "I'm the greatest man who ever lived," which is a fucking hilarious refrain, and especially coming out of Rivers Cuomo's shitty, stupid, whiny bullshit voice, it's kind of funny.
Who have you, you've gone, but your style of listening to music is you go and you find an artist and you'll listen to their entire catalog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who have you done that to? And from that,
I mean, I've done over 100 artists.
really?
Yeah.
Who was the biggest slug?
You want to know who I did? I thought that you mentioned that to me, and I said like, maybe I should reevaluate my biases. And so I started with the band that I hated the most. It was Weezer.
Why the hell would you do
And
it?
I was like, I hate Weezer, but people seem to like them. Maybe I'm wrong. So I listened to every single Weezer album, and then Spotify Wrapped said that Weezer was I was 1%, top 1% of all Weezer listeners that year. I only listened to their song like once off of each album. That's all I listened to, just one album all the way through. And I was their top 1% because they have fucking 22 shit albums.
This is all a bit. He's actually in love with Rivers Cuomo. He's his cousin.
The best.
And he loves Weezer.
Keep those words out of your mouth.
This is
the
Adrian's
best
thing.
song.
The more he complains about something, the more he actually
The
likes
best
it.
song Weezer ever did was I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams. Fuck off. I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams, which was a B-side that they cut from the album on Pinkerton. And that's the best song they
How
ever
many
had.
songs is this?
What do you
Their
mean?
entire catalog.
So fucking many.
What do we say? 100 songs? 200 songs?
Probably
300 songs?
250.
All right. So that's
So many
what,
songs.
Each song's what, like 4 minutes long?
It took me a long time to get through. And honestly, there were a lot of breaks because some of those albums are fucking unlistenable. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
So back to your question. What was that again?
What were the best ones? What were the worst ones?
So
He's going to
Best
say
ones.
Weezer. He's going to say Weezer.
Was one of them Blink 182, by the way?
I did listen to them.
Because
Yeah.
they have so many. I don't
have that many albums.
I thought they did. I guess maybe not compared
Like
to
4 albums.
Queen or...
One of the best. I mean, David Bowie is a chameleon. Like,
Yeah.
it's very interesting to listen to him as he goes throughout decades, because he really changes with like what that decade's sound was.
Yeah.
He adapts to it.
Yeah.
All his 80s music is super 80s. All his 70s music is very 70s.
It is the most of the era. I mean, even down to Black Star. Black Star is like post-pop, grunge, weird shit.
Black Sabbath, one of my favorites
Black
throughout
Sabbath.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even the lineups people don't like, the albums people don't like, I loved it.
Best controversial song. from them that you like?
Well, it's not a controversial song. One of my favorite albums of them is TYR.
I've not heard of that one.
It's from like 1995. It sounds like the Sonic the Hedgehog level where you're going through like the Greek garden underground thing.
That sounds fucking sick.
That's like the whole album to me, and I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I have it on vinyl.
Nice. Nice. Speaking of vinyl, have you showed him your...
Yeah.
Worst, not artist, because I love this artist, but worst album I've listened to is Machine Metal Music by Lou Reed. I love Lou Reed, God rest his soul, but basically what happened was he signed a record deal for, let's say, like 5 to 7 albums.
Yeah.
And he made like 4 albums, and they were like, "Hey Lou, you owe us an album." And he was like, "I don't know you shit." And they're like, "Lou, you signed a contract, you owe us an album." So he made this album called Machine Metal Music, which is basically an hour and a half of industrial machinery.
You know what? That's kind of beautiful in its own way, though.
Is there any musicality to it?
No.
I don't
So
think
it's
that
literally just like
It
he
was
went
a
in...
fuck you to the record.
I don't think that's
hilarious.
a bad album though, because at least there's a story
You
behind
try
it.
listening
No,
to
I'm
the
not
hour
saying
and a half
I'm not
of
saying
it.
it's listenable. I'm saying that since it has a story,
I've
at least
never had a bigger headache in my life.
It's
no
not
more red go-go juice for him, okay? 'Cause-
No, all I'm saying is there's a difference between The Room and Movie 43. Movie 43 was made because a bunch of people wanted to leave their contracts. The Room is bad because it is intrinsically a bad movie.
No, because from what I understand, what you're saying is it's not like he's made music out of it. It's literally just gone with a microphone and recorded like a textile factory working
if
or
there's
something.
musicality to it,
You couldn't hear
I'm
it.
not intelligent.
I just think that even if it's not music, that itself is a type of art piece because it only exists insofar to say fuck you to the label.
Sure, but
And
that
I think
doesn't
that
mean it's good art.
I don't think it's good art. I don't think it qualifies as worst album because it's bad intentionally. And by a person who's known for being good intentionally. You know?
I totally disagree, but
No, because Lou Reed doesn't make bad music.
this isn't music.
Yeah, of course it's not music, but I don't think it's the same as an album that is just genuinely horrific, like Chinese Democracy by fucking Guns N' Roses.
Okay,
you wanna-
Chinese Democracy is not a horrible album. It's just not a Guns N' Roses album.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But that's not a
what
good.
do you mean?
What I mean is fucking.
You can't say that one album is good even though it sounds like shit because it's a statement.
I'm not
piece,
saying that
and
it's
then
good.
Another album.
I'm
is
not
bad
saying that it's
because
good.
It
I'm
doesn't
just
sound like the other.
I'm just saying
album.
that there's 2 different metrics, right? Because that's not a bad album.
It is a bad album.
On purpose, though, it's an art piece. I don't think
That
it.
still makes it a bad
I don't think it
album.
even qualifies for the argument. I think that is a completely different thing.
And yet, Chinese Democracy, it's good music,
Okay.
is a bad album because it's not a Guns N' Roses
Okay, you know what?
album.
Fine. I concede. Chinese Democracy is the best album of all time. Just go fuck yourself on that one. What is the worst album that was trying to be good? How's that?
That's a better question.
Because trying to be bad is its own thing. That's Sharknado, you know? Sharknado is fun because it knows it's trying to be bad, and that's why it's bad. The Room is bad because Tommy Wiseau is trying to make a good movie. There's a difference. And that's the reason why The Room is still funny to watch, and Sharknado is only funny the first time.
I could rewatch Sharknado and have a good time, I think. You're looking through music now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking through it. I'm trying to.
How's
figure it
Elf?
out. Elf is awesome.
Yeah. I haven't listened to them for a while.
I don't know. There's not a lot that I've absolutely hated.
Have you heard this really underground band called Tame Impala? They have this one song. I don't know if you heard it. It's really low key. It's called "The Less I Know, the Better," and like it's super vibey.
You know who I never thought that I would like as much as I did from this?
Oh yeah, surprises on good and surprises on bad.
Actually, and I mean, granted, they're like considered one of the best artists of all time, but it's where the Beach Boys.
Oh, dude, the Beach Boys are awesome.
I never was into them. I was, growing up, I was a Beatles person, and it was always to me like Beatles versus Beach Boys. You can't be both.
Dude, Pet
Almost
Sounds
like a
is fucking
Star Wars
insane.
versus Star Trek thing.
Yeah.
And the issue with the Beach Boys is everyone thinks about their like early albums,
Surfer
where it's
rock
all, like,
and
surfer
good
rock,
vibrations.
harmonies, all that. But where it really gets interesting is during Brian Wilson's like mid-psychosis
When
era.
he's experimenting real hard with everything. I mean, Pet Sounds is one of the best albums of all
Surf's
time.
Up is my favorite album.
Surf's
of
Up is
theirs.
really
That
great.
is an Awesome album.
Yeah. The Beach Boys are incredible, and if you don't know, you need to go check them out.
Beach Boys.
Yeah, because a lot of their later, like their middle era stuff, it's impossible to hum. Like even like God Only Knows, there's so much musically going on in that song. You can hum the melody, but the backtrack is just so layered and complex. He's really. I mean, Brian Wilson was. There's a couple documentaries about his life. He's an amazing person.
Yeah, you know, the whole thing. There's been more good bands than bad bands. More surprises. Blue Oyster Cult.
They're great.
Awesome band.
So
They're
weird.
great.
So weird.
God, I haven't listened to them in so long. They're really good.
Every album there is also just wildly different than the
I
last.
don't know, like you always just hear what's it called?
Don't Fear the Reaper.
Don't Fear the Reaper.
Or
but
Godzilla.
there's so much. I love Godzilla.
Godzilla's a great
I've
song.
never heard that before.
You actually know
Prince
more.
has this acoustic album.
Does he? What's it called?
Fantastic.
I gotta listen to that.
Knowing him, it's
I
called
think.
Prince. Prince is good. I actually need to give his whole stuff a listen to.
It's difficult just because there's so much of it.
Is it
Yeah.
unplugged?
No.
Oh, The Truth. Yeah,
The Truth.
No, I see. PrinceVault.com.
He's a weird guy.
My favorite Eric Clapton album is his Unplugged album.
Well, that's the one with the like slow version of Layla on it.
Yeah.
That's one of
The
the
whole
best.
album is incredible.
I mean, the original.
Was he a piece of shit when he made that, or was this before?
Don't know. I'm not familiar enough with him to know when he became a piece of shit.
What's the difference between a 3-pound bag of cocaine and a baby?
And that's the podcast, guys. All right, there we go.
Anyway, this has been the Chicken Coop Podcast. We got to get some grub.
Yep.
All right. Thank you to our lovely guest, Brian.
Yes.
I won't be back.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good night.